What's up, people? Thank you for joining me for another beer review. Nice, cheap session one. Well, hopefully nice. It's Beer Monster o'clock. Now, I went to Morrison's today to pick up a few bits for Dindins, and I noticed this beer as I first walked in for £1. And when I first see it at first glance, I actually thought it was Old Speckled Hen. I thought that's not too bad for £1. But then as I sort of looked a bit closer, upon closer inspection, it's actually called Old Session Hen. And I thought, oh, right. I sort of took a look at the bottle. It just says easy drinking session beer, 3.4%. Now, there's a key reason why it's 3.4%. And that's because of the new tax laws. Beers below 3.4% pay a lot less tax. So the Morland Brewery, or Green King, who owns it, I've obviously just thought, right, let's hit that limit, bring out a new beer, and try and bring out a decent beer at that ABV. Fair play to them. They're a business, they're trying to make money. I mean, it's annoying, but I'm going to let them off just-ish. Because what they could have done, right, hear me out, is they could have just changed the ABV of Old Speckled Hen to 3.4%. And just sold it as the same beer. Now, that would be annoying and bang out of order. And there's a lot of companies that have done that. You know, like Carlin, Carlsberg, have just like changed their lagers to 3.4% and just kept the same tin, the same everything. All they've done is change the ABV, watered down the beer, selling it for the same price, just so they can make more money. And I'm just thinking most people won't notice anyway. Sod a lot of them. Just thinking to themselves, you know. But I believe Old Speckled Hen does still exist because I see it in the shop. So this is another option. You know, it's obviously there to make their money, but also it's cheaper, it's a lighter beer if you want to sort of cut down on your alcohol, or perhaps you want to have a session without getting too jolly sort of thing, you know. It's a not good option for that if it tastes all right. You know, but it would have annoyed me if they just replaced it and still called it Old Speckled Hen. But Old Speckled Hen still exists, and they've just brought out a new beer that's remarkably similar sounding to Old Speckled Hen. If they get rid of Old Speckled Hen, though, that will be annoying. Give people the choice. You know, and I would have let them off, but I do remember, I think it was about 2 years ago, they did actually change the ABV of Old Speckled Hen. I think it was when Green King took over Morland Brewery. I think they knocked like 1% or near enough 1% off of the ABV of the beer. They should have just left it at what it was. I can't remember what Old Speckled Hen used to be, but they should have just left it at that and then brought out this. So they've got that good product that people have known and loved for many years, or they've got Old Session Hen. So I think they should bring Old Speckled Hen back to what it used to be. But people much preferred it, if they're clever, and then have this alongside it as a cheaper, lighter option. Use your brains. Anyway, I've not even cracked the beer open yet, have I? I'm waffling on. But I'm just giving you my opinion, you know, on the sort of situation regarding the beer. I mean, it could be worse. Like I said, at least they haven't just changed Old Speckled Hen, put it down to 3.4% and thought, sod a lot of ya, like a lot of other companies do. Also, while I was in there, I did notice, and I made a quick short about it, Kronenbourg's been lowered to 4.6% because that's another tax bracket. Not tried that yet, but they only sold it in 10 packs, and I don't want to pick up 10 packs of a beer that I know is going to be worse than what it used to be, because the price hadn't gone down. Wasn't even on offer. It was like 12 quid for 10 cans at 4.6%. That's about how much they were now, 5%. And they even had the 4 packs in the same shop, which was Morrison's. There was still the old version right next to each other. So it just made it so obvious. You only had to have a quick look at the ABV. But to be fair, 99 out of 100 people ain't going to do that, are they? So I do apologise, guys. As I was saying, so because I know how dodgy these companies are, lowering the old ABV of the beers, that I always have a little check and try and catch them out when I'm in there. So most people wouldn't do that, but I almost feel like it's my job to try and catch these companies out for you. And again, Kronenbourg, I'll avoid it now, guys. Anyway, back onto this Session Hen. As you can see, it's kind of a golden colour, medium levels of carbonation, not much head, although it did hang about for a bit longer. I took a quick break to delete a few videos because my phone ran out of memory, as I say. £1 this costs, 500ml bottle, say 3.4%. Let's check out the aromas of the beverage. Okay. sweet malts, perhaps a little bit overly sweet, whether that's to compensate for the lack of alcohol. Almost like, you know, like when you smell a alcohol-free beer, they tend to be a bit sweeter, don't they? I don't know, it smells quite sweet malts, but not necessarily a good thing. I don't really know. I won't know until I try it. You can almost smell that it's got a bit of a bitterness about it as well. And a touch of like a fruity, I think it's a little bit of a tropical fruit. Very slight. Yeah, I think it's going to be quite bitter. I don't know why, but it's just, you know, once you smell so many beers, you can tell sometimes and you're not quite sure what it is that you can tell. I think it's just for experience. I couldn't tell you what it is, but it smells like it's going to be quite bitter, which is surprising for 3.4%, and I might be wrong. Let's find out, shall we? Cheers, everybody. Bosh. Let's see if I think it's worth a buy for £1. Hopefully it stays £1 and that ain't just, you know, an introductory price, because it's only 3.4%, isn't it? Give us some cheap options. What do I think of that? It's okay. It's not that bad. It does resemble old Speckled Hen, but with one less bollock. Like, it's like ripping one of the balls out of an old Speckled Hen, and then you're left with this sort of thing, you know. It's lost a bit of this vavavoom. It's still okay, and it's definitely less flavoursome, but it's definitely got a similar kind of flavour to it. For a 3.4% drink, it's not that bad. For a 3.4% drink, it's not the sort of thing I would really pick up. But for somebody who's trying to cut down, it tastes better than the alcohol-free beers that I've tried, put it that way. You know, so it's, I'm not going to murder it too much. If this was still old Speckled Hens, I said, and they just changed the ABV, I would be going to tan on this. Do you know what I mean? Because that would be a complete piss take. But it's another option, isn't it, for people that want a weaker beer, and it's a cheap option, and it's okay if that's what you want, you know. But it's not great, really. It does have a bitterness about it, which I could just tell it was going to be bitter from the aroma. It's like a leafy, earthy kind of bitterness with a slight linger, which is nice actually. It just lingers for a decent amount of time without becoming annoying. And considering it's such a low ABV, that bitterness and that linger is at least giving it a bit of flavour. There's some like fruity notes, very difficult to tell what it is, but it's definitely more along the lines of a tropical fruit for me. Maybe a touch of mango, and it's definitely tropical, but it's light, very lightly fruited. The sweet malty thing I was getting isn't as bad as I was worrying it'd be on the aroma. It just smelled a bit kind of artificially sweet, like it added crap sort of thing. But as far as taste goes, it's actually not that bad. You know, when I consider the other beers that I've tried at 3.4%, you know, I can't think of many good ones, put it that way. So that's why I'm not proper going in on it. It's okay. If this is what you like after this sort of percent session beer, it's a drinkable beer. It's fairly clean tasting, in fact. It's quite refreshing, the fact that it is such a light beer, like as far as alcohol goes. Yeah, there's not a great deal of flavour though. As I say, the main star it shows for me is that kind of, let's say, earthy, leafy bitterness, bit of a sweet, malty taste. It's a little bit empty in the middle between that. There's no real sort of transition between the start and the finish of this beer. It's just a bit blank at the start, and then it finishes off quite nicely with that linger. But yeah, all in all, it's not bad for £1, but it's not great. You know, I probably should be drinking more beers like this, to be honest. You know, I should consider stuff like this a bit more, because I'm trying to cut down. But it don't taste as good as like a 5% version of the same sort of drink, do you know what I mean? But it's not a bad one for a light option. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. It's not too sad. Let me know if you've tried this one. Let me know your thoughts on it. Sorry, it's been a bit of a waffly one, but you know, I just go with the flow. I'll do it on one take. But I'm going to have to do a little bit of editing on this one because of that bloody phone running out of storage, which is annoying. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. As I say, 6 out of 10. Not a lot more to really say about it. It's a light beer, simple, not a lot going on. But I appreciate you watching. And consider subscribing to the channel if you're not done already. And hitting the like button if you want to, if you enjoyed the video. Till the next one, people. Bye-bye, darlings.